Hey girl, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Jatan with All Things Jatan, and on today's video, as you can tell by the title, we are going to be discussing my hysterectomy journey. Now, I had to get up early in the morning to get my 5-year-old prepped and ready for school. I'm redoing some of her ponytails. I am, trust me, taking it very lightly, not really doing too much. I was told to really be mindful and not do too much because this is a major surgery. Everything that was done internally. So even if and when I start to feel like I'm getting back to being like myself, I still have to be mindful that I still had a major surgery and take it very easy. My doctor said that she really just wanted me going from maybe the bathroom to my bed, not too much of that, and not too much of anything else outside of that for the first couple of weeks. I'm talking. Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. It is Jatan with All Things Jatan, and I'm here to give you all things mom life, faith and fitness, solo mom, health and wellness, all the things. But the reason for this video is today is to discuss my hysterectomy journey. This past Friday, I went in and had a total hysterectomy. They removed my fallopian tubes, my uterus, my cervix. The only thing that was left behind was my ovaries, because I am still technically considered young. They left that there to prevent me from going into early menopause. Now, if you are just joining this channel, I just want to give you a little background about what led me to this place or whatever. I have battled with anemia for as long as I can remember. I remember just living in Delaware, just being very tired, eating ice all the time, and whenever I would go to my doctor's appointment, I would always voice my concerns with having heavy bleeding during my time of the month. My period was always pretty regular. I got it around the same time every month. The only thing was they were super heavy, very heavy. So I want to say almost 2 years ago. Yeah, almost 2 years ago, I was working from home, and I just found myself get up off the ground. My head was sore, and it was obvious that I had passed out. I had missed a meeting and everything. So I didn't go to the doctors right away at that moment because I'm who's going to be here to get my kids? If you don't know, I relocated from Delaware to move down to Georgia. So I'm I have to be here to get my kids off the bus, so forth and so on. So I ended up going later on that day, and the doctor, I went to a medical aid type of place. And the doctor was you should have came in when you pass out. That's a period of time where oxygen is not getting to your brain. What if you did not wake up and your kids wouldn't have had you that way either? So that was a harsh reality. She ordered me some lab work to be able to determine what caused me to pass out and everything. And when she called me back with the results, she was you need to go and see a hematologist, a specialist immediately. And I'm okay, what is going on? She was I'm not liking your levels. Has anybody in your family ever been diagnosed with cancer? Things like that. And I'm I had an aunt that passed away from cancer. I had just during that time, like, I feel like I always say this, like, my mom's generation, like, they really do not share or divulge too many things until sometimes it's too late. So I'm very transparent on my page. I share a lot of things with even my daughters for their own knowledge, to know like what runs in our family, so forth and so on. So I was calling around trying to get in with a doctor, and nobody would see me because they were like, you know, you need a referral. When I'm calling the numbers, like some of the, and I'm sorry y'all, when I'm calling the numbers and everything, a lot of them were cancer facilities. So I'm like going through it for the first couple of months. Like once I passed out, I finally was able to get in with the hematologist, and she assured me right away like that it was not cancer or whatever, but that my iron levels were really low. And I was kind of irritated because I'm like, why you had to be all extra, why you had to be all dramatic when it came to that? Because mind you, I've always been told that I've been anemic or whatever. So I'm like, I kept telling her like, I can calm you down. I every time I went to the doctors, like it was just brushed off, like, oh, some people just have low iron, oh, some people, it just is what it is. But then I started seeing more and more things just talking about how serious being anemic is, how your organs and stuff like that don't get the proper blood flow, how you're tired all the time because you're not getting adequate amount of sleep, so forth and so on. So I started taking iron infusions last year. I had to go through 4 rounds. I just had to do another round in July. In October of last year, I found like me at OBGYN or whatever, and they did like an internal ultrasound, and she was just like, has anybody ever told you that you have fibroids? And I'm like, no. And I go to get examined every year. I'm like, I've never heard that before. And she was like, yeah. She was like, we have a number of options. I'm pretty much guaranteeing this is why you're having the heavy cycles. Once we get that under control, like, you shouldn't have any other problems. So the options that she gave me was like having a myomectomy, which I did have one in November, where they go in and just remove the fibroids. However, I was advised at that time that it didn't guarantee that they wouldn't come back. The only way to guarantee that they would not come back or would not continue to be a problem was by a hysterectomy. Now again, I had no one in my corner to sit up there and tell me like what I should expect, what I should experience when getting a hysterectomy. So I'm just like, I don't think I'm ready for that. I didn't think I was ready for that kind of commitment. And I just felt like that's something major being removed from your body, and we have it for a reason. You know, I already knew I was not going to have any more kids. I did get my tube tied after my second child. So those were like things that I'm just like, so I'm like, I already changed up my eating habits. I had already lost a substantial amount of weight. I tried to eliminate a lot of processed foods and things like that. Like I said on previous videos, I tried to do 80-20. 80% of the time we want to do the right thing. 20% of the time we want to, you know, have a little fun. Like, what is it there for if you can't, you know, satisfy those cravings, the sweet tooths and stuff like that. So I got a myomectomy, and I knew that I would have some time to like heal from it. However, I didn't see any progress whatsoever with my cycles. And I had contacted my doctor again. So, let me just rewind a little bit. I found out in October that I had fibroids. In November, I went and got them removed. I also met with my hematologist around that time. And around that time is when I found out that my iron levels had gone up. Like, they were finally in a normal range. And I was doing good. Getting up, going to the gym, you know, prioritizing my health and wellness and stuff like that. Then come January, after my myomectomy, I went to my hematologist. Then in February, I went and met with my OB again, just to see like what changed, or like a follow-up appointment after that procedure was done. When I went in there, I'm like, she pricked my finger, she did a blood count, and I saw where my levels had went down. Because again, I'm noticing in January that my cycles are still heavy. They have not improved whatsoever. And that's not a good thing to me. But I'm still thinking to myself, like, I did just have a major surgery. Maybe I'm not done healing. It is an internal thing that was done. So I called my hematologist, which after doing all the blood work, everything is connected. If you're familiar with my chart, is where all your records, everything that's been done is available. So my doctor was like, you know, if you feel the need to go get blood work done sooner, you can. So it definitely confirmed I was still having my periods every month. And I'm just like saying, if I continue to bleed the way that I am, I'm going to need another round of iron infusions, which I had to start back in June. I started right after my kids went up to Delaware. And what was so crazy is my OB had got into like an accident or whatever. So all her procedures she had canceled. I was already scheduled in June to have a hysterectomy done. But because she had got in an accident, broke her hand, that was not an option. And now that I think about it, I don't know, like, usually with your OBs and all that, like, they have a follow-up person, like, on call or whatever. But I'm just like, you know, it is what it is. Maybe God is just telling me it's not my time, you know. But I did end up getting it done on the 16th of this month. When I went into the hospital, my appointment was I had to be there by 9 o'clock. I had to give blood work the night before, and I don't know what that was. I don't know if that was to like determine like my blood type and stuff like that. I knew I was O positive, so I just really sat around. It was several nurses and doctors that kept coming in and out, making sure that I was aware. They were asking me questions like, have you ever do you have any allergies? Which they already had that in my file, that I had allergies to tree pollen, stuff like that. Have I ever had any like abdominal procedures done? And then I just remember being hooked up to like an IV to like where different things were going to like make me have a weird taste in my mouth that was going to give me like a little bit of fogginess going on. And everybody that just kept coming in just kept saying, you're doing the best thing. Like, you're going to feel so much better. Like, this is, like, a lot of them had hysterectomies. So, you know, I had did so many research. I was on TikTok the night before, that Thursday before. I was looking at all types of things. So, once I got up, I was just like, did y'all take my uterus? Did y'all do anything? Like, did y'all do anything? Because I kept hearing people say that when they blow air into your body just to be able to get a full scope of what's going on internally, like sometimes that trapped gas gets caught up in your shoulders. I brought gas X. I had, which I didn't even have to buy, come to find out. Back in July, my doctor had already submitted my medications over to the pharmacy. And when I tell y'all, they was getting on my nerves calling every day. So I just went and picked them up. So that I wouldn't keep getting the call reminding me that they needed to be picked up. So they told me to bring gum, Gas X, and things like colace or whatever, because they said that the pain medication can cause you to be constipated or whatever. I had been drinking a lot of water, a lot of fluids. I couldn't have anything past midnight Thursday, and I could only like drink apple juice, black coffee, nothing like with creams and stuff like that. So my aunt took me, and she was like just reiterating to my aunt that I'm to take it easy. There may come a time where I start to feel like myself, but don't overdo it. When I got up, y'all, I knew I had to cross off certain check marks in order to even be able to be released. It's a outpatient procedure for the most part, unless you're not meeting certain checks. So my doctor was like, you know, do I have any concerns or whatever? And I'm like, no, I didn't, because I felt like I had prepared myself to the best of my ability. But I was just telling her, I was like, you know, I've heard that it could be very painful. I'm going to be in a lot of pain. And I remember her saying like, this method is like the least invasive. So I shouldn't get like the same things as everybody else. And I just actually took it off today, but I had like a little patch behind my ear that was supposed to help with like nausea and things like that. So when I finally woke up after like my surgery, my aunt was in the room with me and she was like, you know, they said everything went really good. You're going to have to take it easy. They don't even want you sweeping. So I'm like, okay, like, y'all know I got somewhat OCD. I be liking things to be in order. I be having to clean 70 million 11 times, you know. So I'm like, okay. So she also reiterated that to my kids. And I got up. I'm like, I think I need to use the bathroom. Like, I didn't feel like the sensation of having to pee. I just remember there being pressure. So the nurse that I had came in, did my blood pressure because she was like, she just wants to make sure that I'm not going to fall before she helps me get up. I went in the bathroom and they put like one of those things inside the toilet so that they can measure my levels. And she was telling me that they want to make sure that